We've got a busy night tonight in the NHL. We got 7 games starting at 4 o'clock. My time, 7 o'clock Eastern. So it's going to be busy. Now, the good news is the hockey scheduling gave me a game that I'm really kind of happy about getting to see, and it means that I can wear Canucks jersey in a preview and not overly worry. If they lose, they lose. If they win, awesome. I'm just looking forward to a really good game. And there are some really excellent matchups tonight. Now, I'm going to say we're going to start off with this one, Vancouver and Boston, because, yep. And if you go look in your NHL app, it is the first game that comes up. It's not, I didn't make this happen. Vancouver's really not being respected by people outside the Vancouver fan base as much as I think they should be. They're 17-8-1 since the end of November. It's been an incredible run, and if a team had won 17 games out of 26, and it was anybody but Vancouver, there are some that I think would maybe respect it a little more than Vancouver gets respect for. And so their overall record is 30-18-5, but it's been really, really a solid run since the end of November. So we're into 2+ months of what's been excellent. Now, they're 7-2-1 in their last 10, right? 13-13-2 on the road, and they've been playing against some pretty good teams. It's not like they've been beating just the California teams and Detroit or something like that. Boston, they're 31-10-12. So Boston has 31 wins, and Vancouver has 30. And so they're really close to one another. This is a far closer matchup than you might think because Boston has those 7 extra points in overtime and shootout losses. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10 as well. So they're both playing really well. At home, Boston 17-2-9. So at home, well, if this game goes to overtime, I'm going to take Vancouver hands down. Vancouver's the better overtime team than Boston. Scoring. I went with a scoring leader for each team on the board and then just went with 4 notables as well. Pettersson, 23 goals, 32 assists, 55 points for Vancouver to lead them. JT Miller, 20 goals, 33 assists, 53 points. He's getting close to a career high in points, and we've still got about 2 months left in the season. Virtanen, 15 goals, 24 assists, 39 points. He's been excellent. Tanev, 2 goals, 17 assists, 19 points. Hasn't missed a game yet this year. Eriksson, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points. And there are some in Canuck fandom who I think overrate what Eriksson's done for them to this stage. But I get it. I completely and totally get it. I really do. It is exciting to see him finally seem to be engaged and clicking. Although when you look at the overall numbers, his offense has actually dropped this year from the first 3 years he was in Vancouver. So his offensive output hasn't been as strong as it was in years 1 through 3, but it's fine. We'll take it in Vancouver. Markstrom, 20-13-3 with a .917 save percentage. Demko's 10-5-2 with a .909 save percentage. Both goaltenders have played very well this year. On the Boston side of things, so Pastrnak leads Boston in scoring with 38 goals, 37 assists for 75 points. Torrey Krug, 7 goals, 30 assists. He's been excellent lately. We'll see what happens with his contract and what Boston's going to do at the deadline. DeBrusk, 17 goals, 15 assists, 32 points for him. And DeBrusk's been kind of hot and cold. But the overall numbers would tell you he's been solid. Danton Heinen, 7 goals, 14 assists, 21 points. Good, solid depth player there. And Brandon Carlo, 4 goals, 12 assists, 16 points. One of the best second-rounders Boston's had in a while. And I appreciate Carlo's defense, and I think there might be a little more offense in there than what we see from him to this stage in his career, but it's fine. The defense is enough. Tuukka Rask, 18-4-6 record with a .927 save percentage. Halak, 13-6-6 with a .920 save percentage. And there isn't really a wrong way to go with the goaltending. That being said, I would imagine Rask and Markstrom. I didn't get into the starting goaltenders tonight. I'm just gonna enjoy this. And honestly, it's a 13-game preview, so. Next up, Colorado in against Buffalo. So Buffalo has really been in the news now since Dwayne called in. Thank you, Dwayne, for calling in and getting something going for Buffalo's fans to rally around, even if it's just a disgruntled Buffalo Sabres fan. Now, Colorado's going to want to keep everybody relatively disgruntled. 28-16-6 overall over their last 10. They're 5-3-2. On the road, they're 14-9-2. So Colorado has started to stumble, and Dallas has passed them. Now, they have a game in hand on Dallas. We'll see what happens tonight. But They're in Buffalo against a Sabres team that's 23-22-7. Jack Eichel says they're not going to fall off the map this year. It's not going to happen. Over their last 10, they're 5-5. I genuinely feel bad for Jack Eichel at this point. At home, they're 15-8-3. So Buffalo's been good at home. We'll see whether or not they can take advantage of a Colorado team that's been on the road for a bit. Leading scorer for Colorado, Nathan MacKinnon, no surprise there. 30 goals, 42 assists, 72 points. Need to keep him capped down. Kadri, 17 goals, 15 assists, 32 points. Same amount of points and goals as DeBrusk. Gerard, 1 goal, 25 assists for him. He's been hot and cold this year. Graves, 8 goals, 11 assists. All the Avs fans love Graves and what he's brought the team this year. Belmar, 7 goals, 11 assists. The offense from him has actually been more than one might have expected with him coming over from Vegas. But Belmar, good depth guy. Grubauer, 14-11-4 with a .908 save percentage. Francouz is 12-4-2 with a .924 save percentage. Francouz is 16 points ahead of Grubauer, but there are a lot of Avs fans that will still defend, saying, oh, no, Grubauer's the better goaltender. And, okay. All right. I would imagine Francouz starts here because it's Buffalo, one of the teams outside a playoff spot. Buffalo, Eichel's their leading scorer, of course, 31 goals, 34 assists, 65 points. Dahlin, 3 goals, 27 assists, 30 points. I think they'd like to have a few more goals from Dahlin, but that's okay. Skinner, 11 goals, 8 assists, 19 points, and that contract does look kind of cumbersome right now. He needs to get it going. A hat trick from Skinner would go a long way to alleviating some of the concerns Buffalo has right now. Sherry, 7 goals, 9 assists, always prominent. Doesn't score the way you think he might with his prominence during the game. I think he might be a trade target. I could see that. And I'm talking a hockey trade where Sherry's underperforming. Buffalo finds another player that's underperforming somewhere else. They say, all right, well, we'll swap you, Sherry. You guys give us that guy, and we'll see what we can do. And Colin Miller, 1 goal, 6 assists. Surprisingly, a healthy scratch at points this season. Hasn't really provided for Buffalo what was expected when he was acquired. Linus Ullmark, 16-14-3 with a .914 save percentage, is out. So Hutton, who's now 7-8-4 with an .897 save percentage, has done pretty well since Ullmark got hurt. He's been solid. So can't put the current woes on him, not for where they're at. And the overall record between the two goaltenders is similar enough that you can't just point at Ullmark and say, oh, if we'd played him more. Buffalo's, there are some issues in Buffalo. So we'll see whether or not those issues continue and what happens from here. So Vegas, the Vegas Golden Knights in against Tampa. This should be an amazing game. This should be a fun game between two teams that can really open it up and score some goals. The Vegas Golden Knights, 27-20-7 overall. They're 4-5-1, I should say, in their last 10. On the road, they're 13-10-4. So Vegas, they've had their struggles on and off. They've won 2 of their last 3. We'll see how they do tonight. Tampa's 32-15-5 overall. In their last 10, they're 7-2-1, so the same record as Boston and Vancouver. And at home, they're 15-7-2. So yeah, we'll see how things go for Tampa Bay tonight when they're tested by a Vegas team that's won the last couple they've had on the road. And I still say that I think Vegas is a better team on the road this year than they are at home. Leading scorer for Vegas is Pacioretty with 21 goals, 27 assists, 48 points. Riley Smith, 21 goals, 21 assists, 42 points for him. Shea Theodore has been excellent for them. 6 goals, 27 assists, 33 points. Alex Tuch, 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points. He's been kind of underwhelming so far this year. And I do wonder if with his contract, with the amount he's getting paid, could he end up being a guy that at the end of the year they're looking to move? And I do think Vegas is always going to be a team that's looking to move players. Ryan Reeves, 6 goals, 4 assists. There's been speculation about what his status could be since he's an unrestricted free agent this summer. Marc-Andre Fleury, I would fully expect to see in this one. 20-12-4 with a .908 save percentage. Subban 7-7-3 with an .897 save percentage overall. On the Tampa side of things, their leading scorer is, of course, Kucherov. 24 goals, 37 assists, 61 points. And there are plenty of people out there going to say, Kucherov's been kind of disappointing this year. Yeah, he's only on pace for about 95 points. He's been a disaster. Killorn, 20 goals, 20 assists, 40 points. He's low-key having an excellent season. And I don't mean he's low-key, not, from Thor, but low-key, having an excellent season. So there you go. Palat, 14 goals, 19 assists, 33 points. He's been fantastic. And Tyler Johnson, 12 goals, 13 assists, 25 points. And it feels like of those 12 goals, most of them have been key goals when Tampa's needed them. Chernak, 5 goals, 5 assists, and 10 points from the blue line. Been, I think, pretty good for them. Now, goaltenders. Vasilevsky, 26, 9-3 with a .917 save percentage. I'd expect to see him and Fleury going up against one another, which would leave McElhinney as the backup. He's 6-6-2 with a .909 save percentage. McElhinney's numbers have been getting better. And not just the save percentage, but the wins as well. So that's a spot where a couple months ago you could have looked at Tampa and said, gee, McElhinney hasn't been very good. You can't say that lately. You really can't. And so I think we'll see a pretty excellent game between these two teams. So yeah, that's all I got to add to that. Montreal in against New Jersey. And again, all these games start at 4 o'clock. My time, 7 o'clock Eastern. So it's going to be a busy night. Montreal's 24, 23, and 7. I'm going to explain something here that I said in the power rankings. And I'm going to, again, use the standings to illustrate this. I've said Montreal doesn't have a shot at the playoffs. Nashville does. They both have the same number of points. But in one conference, it takes 9 points to make the playoffs when you have 55. You have to jump 9 points. And in the other one, it takes 4. So that's the difference. That's why Montreal is not, for me, considered a playoff contender in the East. But Nashville is in the West. I know they have the same number of points, but for Montreal, they're up against it. Over their last 10, they're 6-4. On the road, they're 13, 9-3. This is a very winnable game for them. Vegas is 18, 24, and 9. Over their last 10, they're 3, 4, and 3. And at home, they're 7, 9, and 9, which is the most bizarre home record in the National Hockey League. 7, 9, and 9 is weird. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this one go to overtime or a shootout, and Montreal wins it. And then they're 7, 9, and 10, because sure. Montreal's leading scorer is Tomas Tatar with 20 goals, 29 assists, 49 points. It's very telling that Tatar's leading Montreal in scoring and Pacioretty's leading Vegas in scoring. That means both teams are happy with the trade. Domi, 13 goals, 22 assists, 35 points. He finally got off the schneid last game. He does tend to go on goal-scoring binges, so he may very well get another one tonight. Suzuki, 10 goals, 23 assists, 33 points. Very quietly putting together an excellent rookie season. I like Suzuki a lot. Lehkonen, 12 goals, 12 assists. He's having a good year. And Kovalchuk, in 12 games with the Montreal Canadiens, has 5 goals and 5 assists for 10 points. He definitely is fitting in much better in Montreal than he did in LA. And for that reason, I think Montreal should hold on to him. But again, we will see what happens there. Goaltending. Price, 22, 18, 4 is his record with a .911 save percentage. Primo got called up as an emergency call-up, so sure, I'll just go ahead and throw in, yeah, sure, Primo. 1-1 with a .931 save percentage. Charlie Lindgren's 0-3 with an .892 save percentage. Primo was better than Lindgren. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that Primo got sent back down. I understand they wanted to get more games in, but I also thought they wanted to make a run at a playoff spot, and that 0-3 record for Lindgren kind of stands out. Now, New Jersey, their leading scorer is Palmieri with 17 goals, 16 assists, 33 points. Coleman's got 19 goals, 8 assists, 27 points. Bratt, 9 goals, 11 assists, 20 points. And honestly, his offensive numbers have been good considering he's been on different lines. He's had times where he's not getting much ice time. 20 points at this stage of the season is pretty good for him. Simmons, 5 goals, 14 assists, 19 points. I'd be very surprised if he isn't traded at the deadline. Subban, 6 goals, 5 assists, 11 points. And we can continue to have the discussion about PK Subban, where he's at, what's happened to his offense, where did it go, can he find it, does he need to go somewhere else to find it, does New Jersey want him to go somewhere else to find it, probably so. Goaltenders, I would expect Blackwood in this one because Blackwood's just the better goaltender. He's 15, 12, and 7 with a .904 save percentage. Domingue is 3, 5, and 1 with a .885 save percentage. Corey Schneider, I wanted to throw his name on the board because I don't get very many options or opportunities. 6 and 1 with an .852 save percentage for Schneider. It's not a fantastic overall number for Schneider, and I'm aware of that. That being said, I need to change boards. Yeah, see, I wasn't kidding. We've got 7 o'clock Eastern right across to here, and then this one's at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. So I'm not going to try to watch absolutely everything. That's not going to happen. I'm going to watch as much as I can. But it's tonight's review is probably going to look a lot like the reviews from before I started putting notes on all the boards, and it's okay. The first weekend of the year, I really stressed about it. Now, not so much. Dallas is in against the Islanders. So, yeah, all three teams that I cheer for start at the exact same time. Dallas is 30-18-4, which is a record that is remarkably similar to the one Vancouver has at this stage. They're 6-4 in their last 10. On the road, they are 14-10-2. So, Dallas currently resides second in the Central Division. They're in against the New York Islanders, who suddenly have a lot of pressure. So the Islanders have only played 50 games. Some of the other teams that they're competing with have already played 53. So you look at that and you go, they're only 1 point behind these guys. It'll be fine. But Dallas is no pushover. Now, Dallas is coming off of a game last night, so second half of a back-to-back. I would expect it'll be Bishop because it was Hudobin last night. And we'll see how things go. The Islanders are 29-15-6. Over their last 10, they're 4-3-3. Only won 4 of their last 10. And at home, they're 15-7-4. This is alarming because they're in the Metro. And in the Metro, it's pretty relentless. So when you look at their overall numbers, 64 points is pretty darn good. And yet, in the East, it doesn't guarantee you much. The Dallas Stars, 64 points. They're second in the Central. Vancouver's got 65 points. They're first in the Pacific. Islanders have 64 points. And it looks like they could end up missing the playoffs. So this is the craziness of this year's playoff race. Now, leading scorer for Dallas is still Tyler Seguin with 11 goals, 28 assists, 39 points. I've talked it to death about Seguin. Now I think he needs to be shooting more. Jamie Benn does seem to be picking it up. 14 goals, 13 assists, 27 points. He had a pair of assists last night. Rope Hintz, 15 goals, 9 assists, 24 points. Most of those goals were early in the year. I think Hintz has fallen back into a pattern where I think we can expect him to be. I think he's going to be like a 20-goal scorer. I don't see superstar with Hintz. I think he's going to be a 20-goal scorer, a great two-way player. I don't see a superstar. Lindell, 3 goals, 19 assists, 22 points. He's been better than he's been given credit for, I think, so far this season. And Blake Como, who I love Como's game. Absolutely do. 7 goals, 6 assists, 13 points. He's excellent shorthanded, good physical player. And every now and then, if you need a guy to drop the gloves, sure, why not? Bishop's 18-11-3 in net with a .925 save percentage. Hudobin's 12-7-1 with a .927 save percentage. So regardless of who's in net, you're going to get some pretty good numbers. On the Islanders front, Barzal's their leading scorer. 17 goals, 26 assists, 43 points. And of course, they called up Kiefer Bellows because they think they need goal scoring. Beauvillier, 13 goals, 17 assists, 30 points. Eberle to me stands out as the guy that needs to produce more. He really does. 8 goals, 17 assists, 25 points, and I do wonder if he's going to play out that whole contract with the Islanders. Mayfield, 5 goals, 8 assists, 13 points. And Matt Martin, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points, which is fine. He's a fourth-line, third-line guy, but may have expected a little bit more out of him at this stage of the season. Goaltenders, they can go with whoever. Varlamov's 15-8-4 with a .915 save percentage. Greiss has been 14-7-2 for the season with a .922 save percentage. And any given week, one's going to be better than the other, and you can just throw a coin in the air, and whatever it lands on, you've got just as even a chance of being right about which goaltender's going to be better that week. So this should be a fun little game tonight. That being said, moving along. The LA Kings in against the Washington Capitals. The Kings are 19-29-5 overall. Their last 10, they're 2-7-1, and on the road, they're miserable, 8-17-2. That's a horrible road record, and they're in against the Capitals, who sit as number 1 in the league. But if they lose in regulation and Boston wins in regulation tonight, Boston would then jump past Washington into first place in the National Hockey League, which should be weird. Just bizarre, because it would have kind of come out of nowhere. The LA Kings, their leading scorers, of course, Kopitar, 17 goals, 30 assists for 47 points. Drew Doughty, 6 goals, 21 assists, 27 points. I've mentioned this before. I'll throw this in here. We all talk about Karlsson's contract and what it does to San Jose and blah, 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 and it's only year 1, and yet we don't give Doughty that same treatment in LA. Is it because he didn't go to LA from another team, so there's not that scrutiny, or is it because we expected LA not to be very good this year? And so Doughty doesn't get the same scrutiny. And that's an honest question for me. Because he doesn't seem to get the same scrutiny as Erik Karlsson does. Brown, 10 goals, 14 assists, 24 points for Brown. And I know Doughty never scored like Karlsson did in his prime. Sean Walker, 4 goals, 16 assists. I like Sean Walker. I don't think he gets talked about enough. And Ben Hutton, 2 goals, 6 assists. Still trucking along, Ben. He had a post in that last game, right? You can get one in the net. Jonathan Quick, 11, 19, and 3 with an 895 save percentage. Jack Campbell, 8, 10, and 2 with a 900 save percentage. Everything needs to be better with LA, and they know that. And we'll see whether or not they can score a huge upset against the Capitals. Not using the Akbar Magnet on this one, because I genuinely don't think LA is gonna pull off the upset. I'm not cowardly about using Akbar Magnets. I just don't see a lot of upsets that I say, oh yeah, that's going to be a trap. That's going to happen. The Capitals are 35, 13, and 3 for a reason. 35, 13, and 5, sorry. I dropped 2 of their overtime loss points. Carlson, 13 goals, 49 assists, 62 points, has been a huge part of the reason why the Capitals have an excellent record. Vrana, 23 goals, 22 assists, 45 points, has also been a big part of what they're doing in Washington. Oshie, 19 goals, 18 assists, 37 points. Is he an all-star? Probably not, but whatever. He went to the all-star game. It's all fine. Didn't hurt anybody. And he's a pretty good forward. Lars Eller, 13 goals, 19 assists, 32 points. He's a beast. The guy's a truck out there. And Gudas, 2 goals, 13 assists, 15 points. Somehow his plus-minus this year has been excellent. Don't ask any questions. Just go with it. Holtby, 19, 10, and 4 with an 896 save percentage. Samsonov, 16, 3, and 1 with a 923 save percentage. At what point do the Capitals say, you know what? Samsonov's numbers are just too good. And they tell Holtby, hey, you're going to end up being the backup for a bit here because Samsonov's the better goaltender. Honest question. So we'll see if that happens anytime soon. I would think if they fall out of first in the league and the Penguins are catching them, maybe that'll get something going. But we'll see. Next up, Florida. The Florida Panthers coming off that win against Toronto. They're in against Columbus tonight, so it's a bit of a drive. Like they drive from city to city, right? So 29, 17, and 5 now is the record for the Florida Panthers. They're 8 and 2 in their last 10. Fantastic record over their last 10. On the road, they're 13, 9, and 3, and they're probably wishing they could play Toronto every night. They're probably saying, can we just play Toronto? And you know what? Those Canucks, we wouldn't mind playing the Canucks at home, not in Vancouver. Columbus, they're 28, 16, and 9 over their last 10. They're 8, 1, and 1. Excellent record for Columbus. Excellent record for Florida. This may end up being the game of the night. At home, Columbus is 16, 9, and 2. So Columbus has been excellent at home. On the road, doesn't matter. Leading scorer for Florida is, of course, Huberdeau. 19 goals, 47 assists, 66 points. Evgeny Dadonov, 23 goals, 18 assists, 41 points. Aaron Ekblad with 5 goals, 24 assists, 29 points. I think he's having a good year. I do. Vetrano, 14 goals, 13 assists, 27 points. He's never met an empty net he didn't like. But good physical player as well. So for Frankie, I'm really happy with how he's developed. I do wish it was still in Boston, but he's been good for Florida. And Matheson, 6 goals, 10 assists for 16 points. In net, Bobrovsky played last night, so I guess you go with the backup, but we'll see. Bobrovsky against his former team. Can you really not play Bobrovsky against his former team? Can you really not do that? He's 20, 13, and 4 with an 898 save percentage. Quenneville isn't a guy who's going to care who he played for. He's just going to play the numbers the way he wants to. Drieger, 5 and 2 with a 932 save percentage. Montembeault, 4, 2, and 1 with an 888 save percentage. All 3 goaltenders with solid records that they've played this year. On the Columbus side of things, their leading scorers, of course, Dubois, 17 goals, 25 assists for 42 points. He's been really solid lately, had 3 points in their last game. Werenski, 15 goals, 16 assists for him. Seth Jones, 5 goals, 24 assists for 29 points. Foligno, 6 goals, 16 assists, 22 points for him. And Boone Jenner. I still think Boone Jenner is going to end up scoring some points at the NHL level. I just don't know when. 8 goals, 9 assists, 17 points. It's been a bit of a down year for Jenner. Now, their goaltending, Korpisalo, 17, 10, and 4, 913 save percentage. He's close. He may very well be back tonight. He's close. He's very close. Traveled with the team on their last road trip. So if he wasn't close, they wouldn't have him traveling with the team. Merzlikins, 10, 6, and 4, 925 save percentage. He's been pretty good. And Kivlenieks, when called upon, 1-0-1 with a 946 save percentage. So if you look at it, the save percentage gets better with each goaltender that you drop down in their depth chart with. So maybe getting rid of Bobrovsky was the greatest thing they've done. Saves them $10 million, and their goaltending just keeps getting better anyways. regardless of whether or not that's true. Sure, we can go with that and just roll with it. This could be a great game. Really, truly great game. All right, next up, Anaheim in against Ottawa. This is when I remind you guys there's timestamps at the bottom of every video. I don't know how many people are going to care about Anaheim and Ottawa, but I know there may be some people in California that I met last week who care very much about this game. They're 21-26-5. This does start at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern, and they're 4-6 in their last 10, and that's Anaheim. On the road, they're 9-16-2. Their road record's been miserable, much like LA, and I don't think San Jose's has been much better than that either. So California teams don't travel well. Whereas the Ottawa Senators, they're 18-24-10. So they see Boston with their 12 overtime loss points. They're like, we can lead in that category. They're 2-3-5 in their last 10. So that's 5 overtime or shootout loss points. And I think most of them are Hogberg's. 12-9-5 record at home. Now, leading scorer for Anaheim is still Getzlaf, kind of by default, though. Not because he's having a great season. He's got 11 goals, 24 assists for 35 points. Raquel, 13 goals, 18 assists, 31 points. Lindholm, I saw him get his second goal. Let's see him get his third tonight. 2 goals, 18 assists, 20 points. Grant, 11 goals, 5 assists, 16 points. He's been solid. And Max Jones. Come on, Max. Let's realize that offensive potential. 6 goals, 2 assists so far this year. I know there's more in there than that. Gibson's 15-21-3 with a .904 save percentage. Miller 6-5-2 with a .912 save percentage. So Miller may have some stock now in with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I know he doesn't want to get traded. I'm aware. I know this. Just saying, there may very well be a call from Toronto if Anderson's going to be out for any period of time, and they called up Kaskisuo today. That he may end up on his way. I don't know. On the Ottawa side, also leading the scoring by default is Anthony Duclair. 21 goals, 13 assists, 34 points. It has been 14 games since his last goal. We'll see if he gets a goal tonight. Shabbat, 5 goals, 25 assists, 30 points. Chris Tierney, 10 goals, 17 assists for 27 points. Borowiecki, 7 goals, 11 assists, 18 points. Maybe he can lead the team in scoring. And Batherson, in 13 games, 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 points. And Batherson's seen as a key player for the future for the Ottawa Senators. Their goaltending, of course, Nilsson's been out. He's 9-9-2 with a .908 save percentage. Anderson, 7-12-2 with a .901 save percentage. And Hogberg, 2-3-6 with a .910 save percentage. That's a bizarre record, almost as bizarre as New Jersey's record at home at 7-9-9. That 2-3-6 is just insane. Hogberg starts, the game goes to overtime, and they lose. And that apparently is the rule for games with Hogberg in them. So we'll see. That being said, I do need to change boards. Alrighty, so Carolina in against St. Louis. This should be fun. 30-19-3 is the overall record for Carolina, and they seem to be picking it up again. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. On the road, they're 12-10-2. And while Carolina's picking things up, St. Louis has been in a slump. They are 31-14-8 overall. Over their last 10, they're 5-4-1. At home, they're 17-4-4. So at home, St. Louis has been excellent. And it's going to be on Carolina to show something in St. Louis tonight that most teams haven't been able to, which is that you can go in there and you can win a game and look darn good in doing so. Now, Teravainen is the leading scorer for Carolina with 11 goals, 40 assists, 51 points. Aho, 26 goals, 19 assists, 45 points. He's been really quite the sniper this year. Netches, one of those rookies we're not really talking about, 12 goals, 15 assists, 27 points. But again, when you look at a rookie class, don't just look and go, this guy gets the Calder, he's the best rookie. Because that's not usually the case, where the best rookie, the rookie of the year, that first year, he ends up being pretty good from the draft class usually, but not necessarily the best player in the draft class. Fogle, 10 goals, 14 assists, 24 points for him. And Edmondson, former St. Louis Blue, 4 goals, 9 assists, 13 points. He's been an excellent addition for the Carolina Hurricanes. Mrazek, 18-13-2 with a .904 save percentage. Reimer's 12-6-1 with a .920 save percentage. I think Reimer's the better goaltender, but I think they're still deciding on that in Carolina. On the St. Louis side, Perron, 23 goals, 30 assists, 53 points. He's been at a point a game all year. Pietrangelo, 13 goals, 30 assists, 43 points. Thomas, 9 goals, 21 assists for 30 points. He is starting to realize that offensive potential. Falk, 4 goals, 9 assists, 13 points. And that's where it gets interesting, is that Falk has the exact same number of goals and points as Edmundson, but he doesn't have the defense and the physicality. So, again, I do think that is a trade that's won by Carolina right now. Bouwmeester, 1 goal, 6 assists, 7 points for him as he plays out what's probably his final year. Binnington, 23, 9, and 5 with a 911 save percentage. Allen's 8, 5, and 3 with a 925 save percentage. So Allen's save percentage has been better, but win-loss record has been in Binnington's favor, and I would expect Binnington tonight. I'd be very surprised if it's not Binnington because it's his net. I think he'd have to have a disastrous run in order to lose the net at this point. I don't see that happening. And yeah, this should be a win, I would think, for St. Louis because they have to start turning it around. But again, Carolina's been playing very well lately, and there's some confidence creeping back into their game. That win over Vancouver, we'll see if they can springboard off of that and where they can springboard to. That being said, Chicago will be playing the Minnesota Wild. Now you'll notice 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So these are all Eastern time, 5 o'clock Pacific. So 7 games start at 4, 1 game starts at 4:30, and then 3 games start at 5. No. There's a point where it's like, that's a lot of hockey going on at the same time, so I'll watch what I can when I can. This will be an interesting one, though. Chicago, 25, 21, and 6 overall. In their last 10, they're 7 and 3. On the road, they're 13, 9, and 3. So overall, Chicago is getting better. And they're doing it at a pretty decent clip, and they're back in the playoff hunt in the West. Minnesota, they're 23, 22, and 6. Over their last 10, they're 4, 5, and 1. Kind of slipping out of the race here. And at home, they're 14, 7, and 4. Which is still a good home record, but it was quite a while they went there with a really excellent home record, and it's kind of slipped over the last month. Scoring leader for the Chicago Blackhawks is Kane, 25 goals, 40 assists for 65 points. Strome, 10 goals, 20 assists, 30 points. Not as great a season this year as he had last year after the trade from Arizona, but he's still playing well. Saad, 15 goals, 8 assists, 23 points. Kirby Dach, again, one of those rookies we don't really talk about, but I think he's building the foundations for an excellent career. 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points. And Keith, 1 goal, 13 assists, 14 points for Keith from the blue line as he winds down his career. Still playing pretty darn well. Goaltenders, doesn't really matter who they go with, to be honest. Right now, they're both playing equally well. Leonard, 15, 8, and 4 with a 922 save percentage. Crawford, 10, 13, and 2 with a 912 save percentage. But again, Crawford's numbers have been getting better over the last month. On the Minnesota side, Stahl's are leading point scorer. 17 goals, 22 assists, 39 points. Zuccarello, who's been a mixed bag so far for Minnesota. 14 goals, 15 assists, 29 points. It's forgivable in the first year of a contract. Cunnin, 12 goals, 12 assists, 24 points. Brodin, who's been in various trade rumors. I don't think any of them come from Minnesota. I don't think there's any reason to get rid of Brodin. 1 goal, 19 assists, 20 points. And Ryan Donato, 9 goals, 6 assists, 15 points. I still believe in the kid. I still think the numbers are going to show up. In net, Stalock, 11, 8, and 3 with a 903 save percentage. Dubnyk, 9, 13, and 2 with an 890 save percentage. I think Stalock's the better of the two goalies. But, again, they're getting to the point where they're so far behind playoff teams that we may be using the rebuild or retool word as soon as a couple weeks from now. If we're going to look at which team might be sending a letter out to their season ticket holders to say, we might need to change things, Minnesota might be that team that's sending out, the letter that the Rangers, the Kings, they send out letters over the last couple of years apologizing to their fans for not being very good. We're going to get better. We're going to do things different. This is going to change, and Grace guys are going to clear up, put on a happy face. You guys know what I'm talking about. All right, that being said, moving along. Nashville in against the Winnipeg Jets. There's so many good matchups tonight, aren't there? It's an embarrassment of good matchups where we've got Nashville and Winnipeg renewing their friendship with one another. We can all remember how much these teams liked each other in the playoffs a couple years ago. So we'll see what kind of enjoyment they find in playing each other tonight, where they both desperately need victories. They're both below the playoff line. Nashville's 24, 20, and 7. In their last 10, they're 5 and 5. On the road, they're 13, 9, and 3. So, It's just overall been middling, but you still get the feeling that they can make that push. And again, they have the same number of points as Montreal, but the road for making the playoffs in the West is a little easier than the East. Winnipeg, 26, 23, and 4 overall. They're 3 and 7 in their last 10. So even though they defeated the Blues, they've got a lot of work left to do. At home, they're 12, 12, and 2. They have to be better at home. They have to be. Both for their fan base's sanity, and just they have to be better if they're going to make the playoffs. Scoring leader for the Nashville Predators is Yossi, 14 goals, 37 assists, 51 points. I don't have to tell you guys he's having an excellent year. Johansson, 11 goals, 19 assists for 30 points. Ekholm, 6 goals, 22 assists, 28 points. Quietly having an excellent season himself. And for Johansson, I think they want more points from him. Craig Smith, 11 goals, 11 assists, 22 points. And Dante Fabro, we're not talking about him either. 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points, as he continues his progression as the Nashville Predators defenseman, which means it'll start slow and then suddenly he'll be a top 4 guy and he'll be a beast out there, because that's what Nashville defensemen are. On the got to do the goalies first. Rinne, 17, 12, and 3, 898 save percentage. He's had his good games and his bad games. It's been a mixed bag with him. Same with Saros, 7, 8, and 4 with an 894 save percentage. The big difference is they win with Rinne more than they win with Saros. So you kind of lean towards Rinne. Now onto the Winnipeg side. Scheifele's their leading scorer, 23 goals, 33 assists, 56 points. Excellent year for Scheifele. Laine's had a pretty solid season as well, 19 goals, 28 assists, 47 points. Pionk, solid on his behalf, 5 goals, 28 assists, 33 points. Andrew Kopp, I like Kopp, 8 goals, 9 assists, 17 points. And he's shown a little bit more offensive upside this year than I thought he had. And Anthony Bitetto, going to get this guy a goal. He's got to get a goal. 5 assists so far this year. He's got to get a goal, right? Hellebuck, he's been playing a lot. Now that Anderson's hurt, I think Hellebuck has an excellent chance of finishing the season as the goaltender with the most games played, most minutes. I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing, because if they make the playoffs, they're also going to have the goaltenders likely the most tired. Hellebuck's 22, 16, and 4 with a 918 save percentage. Brossois 4 and 7 with an 885 save percentage. I don't think they have any faith in Brossois, and so I would think that they'd be looking for an upgrade in the backup position, but I'm not sure where you look for that. Comrie's not the answer, so calling up Comrie and doing something with Brossois, that's not the answer. It's what they're going to do, isn't it? It's not what they're going to do. All right. Next up, last one on this board is the Calgary Flames at home against San Jose. Remember last year when this was like a blood feud? And it seems like Calgary gets into a lot of these, because they had that with Vegas, they had it with San Jose, now they have it with Edmonton. Surprised they don't with Vancouver yet. But yeah, this could very well be a nasty game. San Jose needs victories, and they need like about 12 of them in a row to maybe get back in the race. They're 22, 27, and 4. So think about it. If they won 12 in a row, they'd be 34, 27, and 4. Might be enough to get you back into the race. That's 7 games above 500 and all that. They're 3, 6, and 1 in their last 10, so they haven't shown a whole lot of interest in getting back into the race. On the road, they're 9, 15, and 2. So like I said about Anaheim and LA, their road record just a disaster. It's a California thing this year. On the Calgary side, they're 27, 20, and 6. This is their first game since the drubbing they took from the Edmonton Oilers. The fighting and all the other activities in that game kind of overshadowed the fact that the Flames got manhandled. They're 6, 3, and 1 in their last 10, and at home they're 13, 8, and 4. Now, Carlson does lead San Jose in scoring, 5 goals, 32 assists, 37 points. But at this stage of the season, to have a leading scorer with 37 points, that's not what would have been expected of San Jose at the start of the year. Evander Kane, 19 goals, 16 assists. Yeah, I almost said Patrick. Evander Kane, 19 goals, 16 assists, 35 points. LeBanc, needs some goals from him. 11 goals, 15 assists, 26 points for him. Brendan Dillon, 1 goal, 12 assists, 13 points. And Sorensen, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points. They need some points from him as well. On the Calgary front, Tkachuk, 17 goals, 25 assists, 42 points. He is their leading scorer. So, again, I don't think Calgary at this point in the season would have said, well, Tkachuk should be our leading scorer, and he should only have 42 points, and we'll have over 50 games played. If I had told Flames fans that was going to be the case before the season, they would have assumed that Johnny Gaudreau got hurt. Monahan, 16 goals, 22 assists, 38 points. Just hasn't had the magic from last year. Derek Ryan, 9 goals, 16 assists, 25 points. Noah Hannafin, 5 goals, 9 assists for 14 points. And Jankowski, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points. I'll keep putting Mark Jankowski on the board. He's got to start getting points at some stage of the season, right? Either he or Sam Bennett have to start getting some points, right? Goaltending, Riddick, 20, 13, and 5 with a 910 save percentage and 1 bat flip. Talbot, 7, 7, and 1 with a 919 save percentage. He was the better goaltender the other night. I kind of would be tempted to just go with Talbot as the starter for a bit. But again, goaltending is a really tricky business, and from week to week that can change as to who the better goaltender is. That being said, and with this game potentially being an ugly one, how long is it before Tkachuk rams into whatever goaltender plays tonight, whether it's Jones with his 13, 17, and 2 record, 889 save percentage, or Dell with his 9, 10, and 2 record and his 911 save percentage? I would think you go with Dell. How long is it until Tkachuk crashes into one of them and you see a whole Mully breakout? Oh, and in Arizona, Tkachuk has a whole thing with Darcy Kemper, and there's definitely an issue between the Calgary Flames and almost every team in the Pacific Division. So we'll see if that happens again tonight. That being said, I need to change boards one last time. And last but not least, the Oilers in against the Coyotes. So this has gone an odd way now, as the Oilers have 16 points in their last 10 games, and the Coyotes have 7. It's a 9-point swing in a period of what? Less than a month. 28, 18, and 6 now is the record for the Edmonton Oilers, as they're again on another hot streak. They're 7, 1, and 2 in their last 10. 15, 10, and 2 on the road. And they have to feel pretty darn good after that Battle of Alberta. And I know Flames fans say, it's the first time they beat us this year. Yeah, but they're ahead. They're ahead in the overall point standings. They are currently 2 points ahead of the Flames, and if they can beat the Coyotes, they're helping themselves out. Coyotes, one of those teams that's right near the playoff line, and it would put the Oilers a little bit further clear of that playoff line. So the Coyotes want to get further away from that playoff line. They're 26, 21, and 7 overall. They're 2, 5, and 3 in their last 10. It's been a miserable run, and they're 12, 10, and 4 at home. They're usually a better team on the road than at home. That seems to be changing. Now they have to get their home record going, because if they're not winning at home or on the road, as Harry Neal said, his problem as a coach, his failure as a coach, was not figuring out another place to play, because the Canucks couldn't win on the road or at home. So, leading scorer for the Oilers is Draisaitl, 29 goals, 54 assists, 83 points. And he's an excellent player. He's the leading point scorer right now. Clefbaum, 5 goals, 25 assists for 30 points. I like Clefbaum. I still like Clefbaum, and I think he's having low-key a pretty good season. Again, not low-key from Thor. Neal, 19 goals, 10 assists, 29 points. He's been stuck on 19 goals for a while. And Neal had a lot of goals early in the season, but still, a 20-goal season for Neal. Even if he ended up with like 22 or 23 by the end of the year, that's got to be considered a huge success, considering he had 7 goals last year. Ethan Bear, 4 goals, 13 assists, 17 points. The offense is starting to show. And pretty good rookie season for Bear. But Yamamoto, not to be outdone, 11 games played, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points. He's been that top 6 winger they needed. So, they found him. He was in the American League. Koskinen, 15, 9, and 2 record with a 912 save percentage. Smith, 13, 9, and 4 with an 899 save percentage. Smith, I think, is the better goaltender right now. For the entire season, it's been Koskinen, but we'll see what they do tonight against Arizona. The Coyotes, their leading scorer is Schmaltz with 8 goals, 30 assists, 38 points. And they don't really have that offensive dynamo. I know it's Taylor Hall. I know it's supposed to be Taylor Hall. It just hasn't really clicked yet. It hasn't picked up everybody else on the team yet. Although Garland is happy. He has 17 goals, 13 assists, 30 points. He's pretty happy with the passes he's been getting from Hall. Chychrun, 10 goals, 9 assists on the blue line. Lawson Krause, excellent year for him. 12 goals, 7 assists, 19 points. Very impressive player who's taken his time, but he's arrived. Richardson, 4 goals, 3 assists. He's had some goals recently, so we'll see whether or not he can get one against the Oilers. Goaltenders, they miss Kemper. 15, 8, and 2 record, 929 save percentage. Antti Ranta, 9, 11, and 3 with a 913 save percentage. So if Coyote fans feel like Ranta's record isn't that great, they're right. Hill, 2-2-2 with a 920 save percentage. So nice consistency there from Aiden Hill. 2-2-2. I like that. That being said, they do miss Kemper quite a bit, and we'll see if when he returns, they turn it around and get things going, or how far things can slide in between now and then. All right. You guys are all set for tonight's games. Let me know your winners, all that in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.